Thank you so much, Laura, and thank you to all of HOW. This is my second DesignCast, and I'm really excited that you're all here today. The first one was all about Twitter, and this one is all about Facebook and using Facebook to take your business to the next level. Really, there's so much to cover on Facebook, especially with the new timeline, and just in general, it's such a new medium in terms of being able to market our business. So I'm excited to dive in here with you today and talk to you a little bit about it. I'm sure will be lots of questions, and I'm able to only really scratch the surface of so many of these topics. So feel free to ask, and we can kind of dive in deeper if there's anything you want more clarification about. So just to get started, this is my face. I can kind of come into your homes or your offices, wherever you are today. Willow Tunes is my personal brand, and I'm also very active on Stitch Labs, which is my startup. So you can find me online, on Twitter, on Facebook, at both of these. You'll see that I'm actually posting way more lately. Well, I'm always very active on Willow Tunes on my Twitter, but as far as Facebook goes, my personal Facebook page hasn't been getting as much attention as much as Stitch Labs has lately. But I'm Willow Tunes on everything, and I would absolutely love it if you reach out and say hello. Just for a little background on me and why there's the tunes in my name is that I'm an illustrator, and so for a long time I had my own business doing design and illustration, and then I started a product line with my designs and illustrations on them, all where geek meets rock and roll, and that was really fun, and actually had the reason why I include this is because I actually really had my moderate amount of success thanks to the power of social media, which is really how I got started consulting and coaching and speaking on the topic. Since then, I've actually transformed my personal brand into inspiring creative sustainability in life and business, and started a whole thing called Willow Tunes Connect, which is all about, for those of you who are in creative fields and are working so much, to create a business out of around what you love, like how can you stay connected sort of to your inspiration and your self-care while you're relying on it to put food on the table. So I love that whole topic, and Stitch Labs actually ties really well into that because it's all about providing this awesome tech solution that helps you save time and sell more and be more successful around doing what you love. So let's get this party started. We have a lot of information to cover today, and as far as just an general overview, let's look at why we even want to use Facebook for our business. You very well might be promoting a product or a service. There's a really, kind of similar to this whole clout idea that we're hearing a lot about lately, is it builds credibility. And as much as it's, sort of this game that we're all playing now, it is very true that I'm sure you guys know the same thing. Like, you see that somebody has a lot of likes, or you see that somebody has a lot of followers, and we sort of, just almost second nature these days are going, well, what's so great about this person? Or, wow, this brand must be really somebody that's doing something great, and I should follow them too. It's kind of this really interesting human nature experience that we're having. So it is something that builds credibility, and it absolutely can strengthen your brand. We have this power more than ever now to really get into the stream, literally on Facebook, of our customers, our friends, our family, and their daily lives as they're sort of consuming this content, and never before have we had that. So it's really, really powerful. The way that Facebook is particularly powerful is that it's this viral. You've all heard of viral, and so everything with there being like buttons all around the net that then publishes seamlessly to somebody's page, all of that then gets shared, and it just has this incredible opportunity to reach. And reach is a very important word. It's a specific word that's used in terms of I may post something to my 1,000 fans, but because then somebody else shares that to their fans, and maybe they have 2,000 followers or fans, then all of a sudden your reach just starts getting amplified. So social media is called that for a reason. We're able to engage the audience. We're able to ask questions of our customers and our fans and really then collaborate on the work that we're doing. So if you're a creative, if you're a designer, if you're making something, you can say, hey, how does this look? And get this instant feedback from your fans and your target market. It's really powerful. For Facebook, it's incredible because, you, like I said, you're in the stream every single day. You're able to then provide this content that they can share, and that's really something that for you being like a publisher and providing this valuable visual is always great, especially if you're in the design world, content that people want to share and they want to engage with. It really just allows you know, people to not only engage with you, which provides all this opportunity for loyalty and satisfaction, but then also allows them to have something that they can share to their friends. And I think that that's something you want to think about. And everything that you're doing is like, how can I create something that people just, they can't resist sharing. And that's why we're seeing just how popular infographics are and Instagram and all these things that people like visually just eat up and they want to share and show other people. So I'm going to start with some basics, and I unfortunately don't have you guys all in a room here in front of me to ask you where you are in the process, but I want to just talk about setting up your Facebook page and profile for those of you who want, and hopefully just even if you are a pro and you've already done this part, maybe you'll even just be able to gather a few gems. I'm always personally surprised at all the different things that I see that aren't being done, so here's all my little tips for you. So this is the Stitch Labs page, which I'll be using a lot as an example today because I've kind of tricked this one out quite a bit lately. And so what I'm going to show you here are really like these 5 main areas. And we're going to go over this in terms of setting up your page and being really familiar with what's going on. So the first of which, let's talk about your username. I am constantly surprised that people haven't customized this yet. And so if you haven't yet and you're wondering how, this is a really valuable tool. It allows you to be able to share this URL, follow me on facebook.com/StitchLabs, as opposed to this really long URL. And I don't mean to pick on Neve by any means because she's one of our customers and we adore her. But this is a great example, and I actually will be sending her these tips after this. I was like, thanks for being a great example for me. But with this, it's like, how is she supposed to add that URL to any postcard or her website or something like that where, it instead could be something simple like facebook.com/by-Neve. And then also recognizing just here while we're on this visual is this About section. So I'll show you a little bit about that. That's you can use this area, and there's a lot of opportunity there to have like a link or something to her website. And so let's first talk, though, about setting your username. Very, very simple. All you have to do is go to facebook.com/username, and you can see that I've already set my personal page to Willow O'Brien. But then what I would have in this pull down here are all the different pages. And as soon as you select one of those pages, it allows you to put a little name in there. So it could be, like mine, or Willow Tunes or Stitch Labs, and one nice little short word. You can put dots, you can put dashes if you want to, but just as a Twitter name or any other handle, it's really handy if you don't have that. So totally up to you, but at least it shortens it and takes all those numbers out of there. Let's talk a little bit about, this is called the cover image. And the cover image really is this new thing, totally new with Timeline, and it gives you this opportunity to do this big splash visual, which is really awesome. I actually have started to love this way more. I will admit that it took me a little while to, just as with anyone and any big change, and certainly with Facebook and all their changes, it took me a little while to find the love for this, but I really love it, and I love seeing how many people do this so differently. There's some rules to know, however, with the cover image. This is the one on my personal Facebook page, facebook.com/WillowTunes. And so it was just kind of a nice way to like create this, big, beautiful image and message. So the cover photo specs, just if you want to know the exact specs, are 851 by 315. And under 100K, which usually it's going to be unless you're uploading some crazy high-res image. But once you crop that puppy down, I'm sure you're not going to have a problem. Good to know. So these are no-nos, and I've actually heard of companies getting shut down because of these, which I think is shocking, but you might as well avoid them. So you don't want to put any contact details, such as a phone number. You can't even put your URL there. I've seen this on some others because some have their URL like literally in their logo. So that can be tricky, and who knows if they'll try to notify you and warn you before they just shut you down. But no call to actions like this page or share or sign up now, no price or purchase information, and then of course can't be misleading or be somebody else's photo that you're not supposed to be using. So let's talk about this about area. Again, I'm always shocked when somebody doesn't have this right, because if you ask me, one of the main reasons I use Facebook is so that I can have more traffic back to my site. We all spend, and this might not be the case for all of you. You might build your entire community on Facebook, which is totally fine. But I know for me, some of my personal goals are to, for example, with Stitch, we want them to try our app. We want them to go to our website, sign up for a free trial. For Willow Tunes, I want them to read my blog. I want them to, engage with me and watch my Willow Tunes Connect videos, which are all on my website. So really, I want to get as much traffic back to my website as possible, and and just in general engagement. So this is really your opportunity to do that, and it's extremely key that you utilize this. How you do that is go into your edit settings, and it's just this small little box here under About. So a lot of people are filling out the company overview and the description and the mission, and that's all fantastic, but this About is really key, and that's where you need to put your URL so that it comes up right there on the home page. Another great example of this is one of our customers, No He Kids. She has customized her URL, which is fantastic. I love her cover photo. Splash image, I think it's great. Besides, of course, she could probably use to move up that little left graphic a little bit, but she does a great job right here of just putting this fabulous little short description, and it ends and it has her URL right there. So, so important. So this area that's highlighted here on the screen, you can actually customize a lot more than I thought. So you can have, some people only have 3 here, which actually is going to allow your little About blurb to be a little bit wider and longer. But you can actually put up to 4 right up here, which is really nice. So we have this Get Stitch News that you see there is actually a MailChimp plugin. And so if you are on MailChimp, and probably a lot of the really popular EMPs, email service providers are actually going to have something like this, but I love this because that's their automatic icon for the news, and I think it's cute. This big, huge red thing is actually YouTube, and so what's nice also is that you can customize these. So that could say YouTube, but instead I changed it to Video Tour. That could say MailChimp or something, and instead I said, Get Stitch News. And so it's nice that you can actually customize them, and this is where you do that. You just click that little button, and you'll also see that these aren't all top level anymore, the way that it kind of hides it, but I do actually also have our Instagram feed hooked up, and I have a Pinterest feed hooked up in here. So you can kind of go check those out, and I'll tell you a little bit later in this at the very end. We're going to have a whole list of resources for you, and I'll show you where you can do that. But you can also go, and I want to say at the bottom of both of those, you'll be able to find, like, if you go to the Stitch Labs page, you'll be able to find at the very bottom both is like a powered by link. So if you want to do that, you can as well. So, and then also once you're in here, you can swap all these. So for example, what if I wanted, you can see between yesterday and today, or within when I was doing this, I added some of those, but you can swap these positions. So say, for example, if I actually wanted my Pinterest to be up there, and that was a really popular place for us to be, then I would want to maybe swap those out, and I could easily just swap that with one of the other ones. there. Also, when you go down in the same menu and you hit Edit Settings, that's where you're actually able to upload a custom icon. So I could change, like that Stitch blog is just our logo, but I could totally change that to be a little bit of a funner image. And you can customize the image and customize the text. So let's talk about Facebook Timeline. This was a huge change that was implemented, and I think it's taken a lot of people, a lot of getting used to, and I was very frustrated with it at the beginning, mainly this part where I just was like, wait, where are my posts? Like, I couldn't figure out sort of where they were, because all of a sudden we've got the stuff on the right that are like recent posts by others, and then like Jake's post is showing up right there because he's a friend of mine, so it's going to show like these related posts from friends. A lot of times it'll even show me my own post right there in the right column. So I, for a long time, was kind of confused, but just so that you know, you can always, if you're ever just like, I just want to see the posts that I've made, or I just want to see what other people have been posting, you can always change this. And there's actually all in the settings. You can absolutely change it in the settings to where, for example, you can have it never show these recent posts by others, which I don't recommend. I think it's actually very good. Again, we're kind of back to the credibility and the loyalty. You really want to be able to have your community have a say in it and have a voice, and you want other people to see that there are other people talking about your brand. So I don't recommend not showing that, but just so you know, here's sort of how you would navigate through that. There's this awesome part, which I actually have really been loving, is that you can both pin and sort of highlight your posts. And if you haven't experimented or played with this, it comes in really, really handy when you maybe upload a bunch of photos and you have this fabulous photo album to show and these big, bright photos. And what's nice is you can quickly click it and see what it looks like. And if for some reason the image just doesn't work there so well, you can actually just click it off, and then it doesn't do it. If I wanted to make sure that everyone saw this all the time, I could pin it to the top as well, and that's kind of really nice. Like, it's kind of like a sticky where it just sticks it to the top, so it's always going to be top of mind no matter what else you post. That's optional as well. Something also to note, if you are posting a photo album like this, is that you're actually able to change the first image that's shown, and you can even reposition the photo. So for example, like if this one I actually wanted to move it up because there was something a little bit better, there's times that you can actually reposition how the photo is being cropped. So that's really handy too, and you can kind of play with those in the settings, which are underneath the little crayon pencil edit icon. This is really, Facebook is this incredible opportunity to engage with your customers and really build your brand. So I want to talk about how to use Facebook in a way that is from your brand. There's these settings, and I've sort of shown both of the places that you can access this here, where you can actually use it as your brand. So for example, with Stitch Labs, I use this literally as Stitch Labs, so that it's not just me commenting. And what that allows me to do then is go and like all of our customers. So for example, I'm on Neve's page again here, and I'm able to then like go comment on her content and say, well, that's so exciting, and actually have it be from Stitch. And she loves us, we love her, and she loves seeing that we're interacting with her. The one on the right is where I had actually posted on our Stitch page saying, many thanks to our friend Neve, and I tagged her. I didn't really write anything or do a screenshot about tagging, but I'm assuming all of you know. If any of you guys want me to actually go through this at the end, I'm absolutely happy to, which is just tagging other people. And that pretty much just means that you start, if you've liked another page, or if somebody's been commenting back and forth, you can just use the @ symbol and then actually tag them. I'll show you a few other examples here, but I don't have like a live interactive, but I'm totally happy to do that at the end if you guys want more information about it. So again, on the right column there was what I posted on our page saying many thanks to our friend Neve of by Neve's Handmade, which actually just automatically tagged her full page name for stopping into the office today. It was great to see you. So I posted that on our page. What's nice is that I tagged her, so it also showed up in the recent posts by others on her page, which is great because then ideally we've got people that maybe do similar handmade things that come to her page, and then they see this and they might click through and kind of be like, what's Stitch Labs? That sounds cool. Another thing that's really awesome is, so I like all of these customers and all these fabulous people that we engage with in our Stitch Labs community. And then now what that means is that by using Facebook as Stitch Labs, I'm able to go to the news feed, and these are all the people that we have liked as our customers and as people that we engage with. So then I'm able to go to this whole news feed and just like and comment and engage with all these people. It's fantastic. It's such a great way of staying, again, top of mind, supporting their brands, and like being, joining that conversation and really building those relationships. Share your process. This is something that I love. I'm very visual. I think probably a lot of the people on the call, most of you I know are designers or creatives of some sort, and I think that that's what we all love about the internet, is we're able to really get this peek into what other people are creating. It's very voyeuristic, but it's also very inspiring, and it can really be something that, we love watching people's process. So Studio Petros, she was a client of mine, a marketing and social strategy client of mine for a long time, and she does a fantastic job of posting these gorgeous visuals. She's very design focused and just sharing her experience. So she makes these beautiful tea towels, and she has a full theme of used cloth, not paper. And so I love this because she just basically tells a little story. Like when I'm in my kitchen, I just feel so lucky to be designing tea towels. I keep them handy, and it's like this. It's both like a tip and also her passion, and also sharing her brand, sharing her products. Same thing with her sharing these fun coconut cupcakes, and these are things that people want to interact with. You're getting just a little bit of a touch into your life and into your passion. And quite frankly, actually, Christina of Studio Petros, she actually doesn't share a lot of personal stuff. It's really about what inspires her. She doesn't even all that often like to write a lot. She really just likes to share visuals. So she's doing a great job at not sharing her personal life necessarily, as much as she's just sharing what inspires her, and that by nature then engages other people. So let's talk about using Facebook and how integrated, crucial really it is to kind of your social media marketing plan. If this is something that, again, you're wanting to promote a product or a service, we really have this opportunity with social media to leverage all these networks and build our customer base, build our fans. So it is a very crucial part of your marketing plan. What I talk about a lot for all of my clients, and what I do certainly for my own personal brand and Stitch, is how important it is to step back for a bird's eye view. It can be so easy to kind of get sucked into Facebook or get sucked into Twitter or feel like you have to be doing it all the time. But I really think that there's something to be said for a strategy and kind of stepping back and creating what I call a content calendar. So we're going to get into that in a second, but one of the things that I think it's super important is, and I started realizing this, is I post to Twitter all the time, I post to Facebook, and sometimes I'll have just a quick little idea, and then I'll stop and think, how could I have this be a little bit of a bigger idea? So don't give all your good ideas to Facebook. Think about how you can maybe write a post and then post a link to that. So if you want people to be engaging with your blog more or discover what you have on your site, have it be something that you actually do there and then you link to it. And there's some really creative ways that you can do that. You're probably seeing other people do that, but it's really nice. I think varying your updates as well with photos and links and polls is super important. And then the cross-promoting is really key, again, like for Twitter. So, for example, when I did my Willow Tunes Connect series, I did a whole photo shoot. So I would have these behind-the-scenes photos that I would do at the photo shoot or at the video shoot. And later, after the story had already come out, I would publish these behind-the-scenes photos, but I would publish them on Facebook. So what was nice about that is that it would be something where I'd publish those on Facebook, I'd do a blog post on my blog that had like a little screenshot or maybe one of the photos, and then I'd say, view the full album on Facebook. Then again, when I posted that, maybe I tweeted the link to the blog post. So really like looking how you can cross-promote all these networks, so that I was able to actually create this original content on my website, but then link to it from Twitter, from Facebook. If it's a really nice visual, you could even pin that to Pinterest and then post it to Instagram. So really think about, and I probably even actually would post them also to Flickr. Flickr is a big community I use as well. Here's a great example of how I did this for Stitch. I really wanted a big visual. I wanted to let everyone know about what was going on here. This was like this huge integration that we did. And so what I did essentially is just took a screenshot of the blog post on our blog, and then I uploaded that to Facebook. So that instead of just a text update, it was actually a big photo, a very engaging photo. It's got these like big, big title, fun little graphic, and then this video. And, I can even put in the comment here, like, I know you're tempted to click on that big play button because people are just going to click it and it's going to take them to the next photo. But I wanted to like reiterate, go watch the video here. So it really engaged them and helped them actually go to our blog, and in a different way, and kind of different than just text. You really want to use photos and imagery as much as possible. I did this just yesterday, actually, with my own personal site, my own personal Facebook page, which is at /WillowO'Brien, and it's totally open. You can subscribe to it. But I had this amazing interview come out recently, and I just loved it. And I really wanted people to be able to see it and not just have it be like this sort of flash in the pan. So I took this screenshot, which is by itself just kind of like a bold imagery and just tells a bigger story. And so I posted that yesterday, and it got an awesome amount of engagement and people really reading it, which is what I wanted. So let's talk about the content calendar that I just said. This is really something that I try to do with all of my clients. Let's think about how all of your different networks are working together. So, for example, you might have a schedule for yourself for your own personal blog, and then you also might have a newsletter that goes out, and you might also then be managing a Twitter and Facebook. There's a lot more to this, of course, but I'm just going to kind of, in general, look at this as a bird's-eye view. You might have certain categories you're posting to. So as you can see here, for example, if I know I'm going to send my newsletter on a Tuesday, how can you make sure that you maybe are teasing about your newsletter and saying, hey, I'm going to be sending out a newsletter soon. I'd love it if you sign up, and you're actually linking to that from your Twitter, from your Facebook. You can think of creative ways to do that. Certainly some ways to tease about what they get when they sign up for your newsletter, things like that. But really integrating all these together. And then this is actually something, again, a little bit more of a built out, but when I was doing my Willow Tunes Connect video series, I had it was way more complicated. We were like, okay, we're going to be, launching the trailer on this day, which means then we need to do this, related blog post on this day, and it got a little bit more advanced. And again, this was still in the template. This is like looking at every single month. The first week of the month, this is going to happen. Second week of the month, this is going to happen, like really putting myself on a schedule. And there's power in the series. I will tell you that right now. Is like if you have an opportunity to do a weekly tip on your Facebook page or a weekly tip on your blog, a monthly video series that comes out, there's really power in the series. People love consistency, and your fans appreciate consistency. They know that when they go to your website or your Facebook page, they're going to see something new, and that's what they keep coming back for. Then you can kind of actually drag it, map it into reality, which then, we use a lot of Google Calendar, and that's nice because you can kind of just have it all being held there. And you can drag things around. I actually really would also update what it ended up being. So, you can kind of document it there as well, which is nice. And it teaches you a lot when you're able to then look back and see what happened. Okay, edge rank. I wish that I could see a show of hands of how many people you know about this thing called edge rank. Here's a great visual that was done by Moon Toast just to explain to you what edge rank is. Basically, Facebook has this algorithm that is it can be a little bit irritating because you sort of have to jump through the hoops of the way that it works, but it's life is moving very, very fast on Facebook, so it's kind of important to know how the game is being played. This tells you a lot about it, but essentially what you need to know is that it's all about, this algorithm specifically is all about how often people are engaging with your site. So that's a really the core metric that I feel like you need to be sticking to, is how often people are engaging with your Facebook page. And that also really ties into you engaging with their Facebook page by you liking and following and befriending other companies or brands or people that you're able to then engage with them, and then that's going to get them going, oh yeah, Stitch Labs, let's see what they're doing lately, and then they click back and see what I'm up to. So, and that's also the reason, for example, why I published all of the photos on Facebook, on my Facebook page for the Willow Tunes Connect series, because I knew then that if I sent out a newsletter and did a blog post and did a tweet and had all of these people going back to my Facebook page to view this, it was going to help increase this affinity algorithm. So the weight then is really just like how many likes and comments it gets. So this is another trick you can do as well. For example, as soon as you post something, if it has a lot of engagement right away, like essentially the sooner the engagement gets, the sooner it gets engagement, then the more it's going to sort of stay. This edge rank is going to be like a higher edge rank. So if a brand has a ton of followers and it gets a ton of likes and a ton of comments pretty much as soon as it posts anything, that is going to most likely be showing up in people's news feeds versus something that, say I post something, it doesn't get any likes, anything, all of a sudden, as that gets older, it's going to just be disappeared even more, and some people may never even see it. So kind of frustrating, but the whole point is that you really want to be top of mind. The whole point of your promoting your Facebook page and promoting your business through Facebook is that you're actually getting seen, and a lot of people are consuming it through the news feed, and edge rank is all about how your posts are being seen in the news feed. And let me know if you have any questions about that, because it's definitely it's sort of simple, just in the sense that it's just like flat out recognizing that it's Facebook's algorithm for what to show people. But there's some ins and outs of it, and I will get into a little bit. So increasing edge rank, really encouraging interaction. Instead of just posting a statement, ask questions, ask for engagement. Providing this engaging, valuable content. You always really want to stay on target with who your customers are and what they would like to see. Add photos and videos. Photos and videos are going to get a lot more click-throughs. It's going to stop and have them actually look at, if they're just skimming really, really fast at work or whatever, a visual, sort of the image is worth 1,000 words. So really using that to your advantage. Be consistent, consistently posting, whether that means that you post at a certain few times each day or just at least once a day, but really being consistent with it, like I said before, is so, so important, because people want to know that they can rely on new and fresh content. And then again, just that increases your edge rate. The more they're seeing it, the more they're engaging with it, the more they will continue to see and have the opportunity to engage. Post manually is a huge topic that I want to talk about today, and I will be the first to admit this is sort of where my love-hate for Facebook comes in a little bit, because post manually means to actually post right on Facebook instead of using, say, Hootsuite or TweetDeck or one of these other third-party apps. But really, Facebook loves it when you are right on Facebook.com and using it right in that real time. So looking up actually some information here, it's fascinating to see that manually posting content rather than one of these third parties can actually increase your viewership as much as 300%. And even looking through some of my stats, I can see that that is absolutely the case. Like the virality just goes through the roof when you're actually on Facebook. I unfortunately, like many of us, if you're a business owner, certainly you have so much to do. So I'm just as guilty of, sort of I actually have been doing it less for Facebook, I will tell you, because I've been really trying to increase our engagement there and kind of playing with it. But I will say that, every once in a while I'm publishing an update from Hootsuite just because it's just handy that I can publish, something there because I'm already there for Twitter. So let's talk about measuring ROI, and I've sort of skirted along this because I like to test things. I like seeing what is actually happening, especially if you're spending any amount of time putting your time into building your brand on Facebook. You want to know, like, is this working? Is this even working at all? So it's really important to figure out what is working, what isn't working, and you can kind of take this information and utilize that to your advantage to leverage your business even more on Facebook. So there's different levels. There's so many people that are actually viewing your content on Facebook that aren't even saying anything. They're not liking it. They're just totally, what I call like a lurker. They're just lurking. They might love your brand. They're just somebody that's not very vocal, or they really like the anonymity of being able just to look but not really like talk to you or engage. So they might be like the biggest silent fan. You have to remember that you're always speaking to them as well, even if they're not talking. Facebook has pretty much created the most passive engagement that we have these days. It's like the invention of the like button, where you don't have to actually really be engaging, but they can just hit like. And I think we're going to see that, and we already are. I'm seeing this in like little areas, but I think we're going to see variations. Already we have the like, we have, like a heart, say, on Instagram and some of these others. I feel like we're going to see a little bit more of that as this gets a little bit more sophisticated over the years, where it's maybe not just like, PATH actually does a great job of that, where you can kind of like, smile or frown or giggle or laugh or love. And so there's these different levels of measurement. The best one, of course, is this active engagement, where people are literally posting right on your timeline, or they're tagging you from their page, or they're really having like an actual, conversation with you and leaving a comment. And then, of course, the ultimate is conversion. How many hits are you getting to your website from Facebook? How many sales maybe are you getting on the product, or signups for your application? There's a lot of different tools for measurement out there, and one of the big ones is obviously just the initial Facebook Insights, which I'll show you a few screenshots, and it's actually really, really helpful, I will say. Facebook Insights is, I don't dive in there too much, but it's gotten a lot better. Of course, just seeing your basic numbers are really important. Are your fans going up? Are people sharing it? Are people talking about it? Is it working? And that is kind of a core indication is if people are actually visiting your page and liking it. Google Analytics is awesome, and Google Alerts. Google Analytics you should have plugged into your own website, and that'll just help you be able to see if people are actually coming from Facebook, and it just kind of verifies that that is working in terms of your ROI, return on investment. And then there's a few additional little ways that you can sort of get a window into it. And feed burner is one where you can actually burn your feed on your blog. So that sort of sees like, okay, are people actually coming to my site and subscribing to my blog feed? Bitly is a URL shortener where you can actually then see the statistics on how many people clicked that, and it will break it down from, say, Twitter to Facebook. So if I shorten a URL, I have this really long URL for a blog post that I did. I shorten it really quickly with Bitly, and then I post that link on Twitter and Facebook, and that just allows me then in Bitly to see, wow, okay, I actually got 4 clicks off of that off of Twitter and 7 clicks off of Facebook. So it kind of helps you sort of get a read into who's clicking and from where. Your clout score is definitely based off of Facebook as well, and Twitter, and a few other algorithms. Hootsuite does have its own reports. I'm not the biggest fan of Social. I am a huge fan, and I will go into that a little bit later. And then Recommendly, which is, it kind of just tells you, it's a little bit like a glorified Facebook Insights, but then it also gives you some recommendations for how you can increase your engagement. So these are some screenshots of our actual Stitch Labs Facebook Insights. And just to show you a little bit about how to read this, obviously you can sort of see the consistency and of my own posts and how much we've actually been posting on Facebook. And then you can see how that's actually sort of changing these variables around your reach and people talking about it and things like that. So kind of this is like a quick overview. Some of this isn't actually even that interesting. You can kind of just see, obviously, if you've got big, huge spikes or if you've got, big going down. And, it helps. Mostly, I look at this and I'm like, oh, well, I've had, more time or less time to work on Facebook lately. But it's kind of interesting. I sort of take it with a grain of salt, but it is interesting. This I really, really like. And again, this is kind of going back to this virality I was talking about and how key it is to actually do things right on Facebook, which I have been trying to increase a lot. And so fascinatingly enough, you can actually see specifically here. So like, hey, this one that says, hey, any of you live in or around, I was asking people if anyone lives in or around Boston. What a great question. Super targeted. It's going to pull out people that are like specifically within a certain geographic region. People have like an identification with that. It's a question that's created this engagement. People have been talking about it. So like that one, I mean, I'm surprised the virality is even that low. It just happened yesterday, but still, it's fantastic. You can see that the reach really went up. Same with this Holy Smokes over the weekend. That was I posted a photo. You can kind of see on these little screen. So you can actually look and see all these ones that are super viral here. They're all photos. The Holy Smokes, the Life in the Lab, the moving to our new office, and all of those are photos. So it's kind of, it's clear that that's the big one. The moving into our new office has, I think, a lot of engagement and engaged users because I also shared that on my own personal page, which has, I've got a lot of supportive friends, and I think one of the photos in there was like a photo of me in our new office, and so I probably had a lot more kind of engaged users and friends being like, oh my God, that looks great, and that's fun. So, but it's that virality. So you can do that a lot with all of your customers and your client and fan base. These are screenshots from Sprout Social, and I love Sprout Social. You'll hear me talk about it, and there's another screen in here too about it, which is really helpful for seeing exactly like I said, like who are these people? You can kind of get a sense of the demographic that you're speaking to, and that really is super helpful, but also just to even know like how it's going. So this is a dashboard view. It actually looks slightly different these days. They've redesigned it, but it really helps you sort of get this like quick overview about, what are my most popular wall posts, how many new fans have I had, how many people are, brand new visitors. So it's kind of this really awesome way of getting this visual look, especially for the visual people out there, into how well you're doing. And one of my clients commented once that really it was just a way to almost make her feel like, okay, what I'm doing there is actually something. And I think quite often, you can get into the data and the stats if you're super, super into it, but really more than anything, it's just helpful to know that your effort is actually doing something, and it's kind of cool to have the stats behind it to prove the point. So again, this is Sprout Social. If you want to use my link, it's this bit.ly link /getsprout, and that will help you get a free trial. And I highly recommend it. It's super, super affordable. Every single thing else out there for tracking your ROI is either convoluted or messy or hard to understand. I think that their plans start at like $9.99, and so it's super, super affordable. You can schedule posts in there. You can see all these graphs. You can manage several accounts at once, and you can also then have several users using it at once. So if you have a team of people, it's pretty cool. So we're going to dive into the tools and resources. And I have a lot of these for you, and I'm going to probably run through them a little bit fast, but at least you guys can see them here and you can look at it. Hootsuite, I love. It is like my dashboard of awesome for everything that I do. Love Hootsuite, and I use that. I'm guilty from using that for the scheduling, especially when we kind of get back to EdgeRank. I've been definitely using Facebook.com more, but every once in a while I want to schedule something through there. Sprout Social again. Buffer app is a new one that I have just been falling in love with, and it's kind of like a way to describe it is instead of scheduling, it sort of says, hey, let's at least get you posting like 4 a day. And as you come across stuff and you want to post stuff here and there, then just feed this buffer application, and it will automatically roll them out throughout the day at these certain times. So it's kind of cool. It's all about just keeping your buffer full, and then it'll push it periodically. And it kind of is a way, like if you're super busy and you don't have time and you just want to keep it full, you can. I love Buffer app for both for Twitter and Facebook. If you want to import your blog, I use networked blogs, and it just is a way of like putting my RSS feed into something that then is going to automatically publish. So I don't totally, I've used both. So what I do is essentially have my blog hooked up to network blogs. I do this both for Stitch and for my Willow Tunes. And what this does then is if I publish a new blog post, the RSS feed will get updated, and it will automatically publish something to Facebook. Now, keep in mind with EdgeRank, that might not be seen. So often, sometimes, say I've scheduled a blog post, and it goes out at 7 a.m., but I'm not even really in the office until maybe 9:30 or 10. And when I get into the office, then so it'll actually publish like that network blog things go out, but who knows who saw it. And around 10:30, I'll actually do a personal update on Facebook, that has the link and then gives me the opportunity of really providing some other like personal content in there. And I might be able to, for example, if the blog post has something about a certain customer in it, maybe outright is mentioned in there, I can tag them in the update, which is, again, just using the @ sign, and then you know how the names and the brands come up there. So you can tag these other ones, and that means that they're going to get tagged. That's going to show up in their recent posts by others on their page, and they'll get a notification in it. They love that. I know I love it when I get them on other people's pages. So I think it's important definitely to be using right on Facebook, as time-consuming as it is. But just so that you know that there are these opportunities for using these tools that will import your blogs. Again, with these tools, Recommendly is kind of a cool thing. You can hook up your Facebook, and it gives you all these. If you want like kind of just to be inspired and have some direction, it gives you all these certain ideas. I think you can sign up for even like a daily or a weekly email that says, hey, you might want to think about doing this, or hey, we've found that people who post photos get this much more engagement, so it kind of does that. There is something called EdgeRank Checker, which I am definitely by no means all bought into. They give you this free scan, but then you have to pretty much upgrade to Pro for everything else. Honestly, I did it this morning. It's not that impressive for the initial thing, but they have got the market cornered on the EdgeRank checking. It's pretty fascinating. So you can check into it. By all means, tell me if you feel differently. I'd be curious to hear. Okay, now this is the wealth of information here. So if you wanted to hook up your Twitter, and what that means is, for example, say you post something on Facebook and it gets tweeted out automatically, you can hook that up right at facebook.com/Twitter. I personally don't like this, and I don't have mine hooked up. A lot of people do. Maybe they're not active Twitter users. Maybe they're way more Facebook people, which is totally legit. At least it's getting out there somehow. The thing I really don't like about this is that 9 times out of 10, I see the link in their tweet that says that it's, the on.fb, so I can tell that it's like a Facebook link. But then 9 times out of 10, I click it, and especially if I'm on my mobile phone, it will take me to a login page. So sometimes people aren't actually just able to seamlessly get to your content because maybe they're not even on Facebook. So you want to use that at your own risk. But if you absolutely have a hard time updating Twitter and you're just totally into Facebook, it can be helpful. There is actually a Google Plus to Pages application that you can install if you are active and interested in having your business also on Google Plus. There's an Instagram feed, and this is where I posted the how I showed you that we have our Instagram feed on there, and that's how you get to that one. And then there's also this Pinterest tab. So this is super easy to set up. It can be a little bit confusing when you get to this, like once you actually get to this URL, which is this /iframehost-pin. If you look on that page, it's not the best design page, but you'll see at the very bottom this small link that says install our very popular free Pinterest tab. And it will walk you through it from there. If you guys have any questions about this, you can actually search the internet for add Pinterest to Facebook page, and it will give you about 7 different tutorials that are all different, or all roughly about the same all over the net that show you and walk through it step by step. These Involver and the Wildfire app specifically go to these URLs because both Involver and Wildfire app have these sort of like more enterprise, bigger solutions that they provide, but both of these that I've linked to here are their free app. And what this does is, if you remember back when Facebook was tabs and not timeline, you could create this like welcome tab that people came to first. And that's what these do. So for example, if you wanted your top 4 images to be like a welcome tab instead, or maybe that it just says like welcome, or click here for a discount deal, and you can customize that little icon to say whatever you want, and then you want that page to be whatever you want, then you can use these two. And actually this iframe host-pin does that same thing where and I actually installed a ton of these on my, like just messing around on facebook.com/WillowTunes. If you pull down that little arrow, you'll see that I think there's like probably 2 or 3 welcome pages there, because I was kind of like messing around with both of them. And what they do is that you can put custom HTML, or you can in the iframe host-pin, you can link to, you can actually like embed in an iframe another website. So I think I actually put that on mine as well, where I have one of mine that says WillowTunes blog, and all I did is say I want this to show a certain URL, and I put willowtunes.com/blog. So literally when you go to that tab, if you want to call it that, whatever they call it these days, then it's literally just going to show in an iframe my willowtunes.com/blog page that they can actually interact with right there on Facebook. So these bottom 3 are very cool. The bottom 2 are a little bit more, I'm pretty sure both of them are like, you can kind of customize HTML, so they might be a little bit more advanced. But you can even do something as simple as like, a YouTube embed, or, just even like, hey, this is awesome, and you can like link to something else. So very cool apps there. You can also have a store on Facebook. These are 3 different places you can use for free stores. I know that there's tons more, and you're welcome to tell me what those are, but these are kind of like the top 3. Centrally are friends of mine, and they're doing a really cool thing where anytime you post a product for sale, it actually is publishing the image of that through your photo feed. So it's just going to be a lot bigger. It's going to be bigger than a link, because it's going to be this photo, which is this very full visual experience on Facebook. So those are kind of cool. Bottom line is, with all of your Facebook and all your social media, is really just to like work it like you mean it. Be super genuine and authentic, and have a great time with it, making sure that you're always providing really on-target content, being consistent, building that trust, building your brand, engaging with others. It can take some time, but if you're able to just spend, maybe an hour a day on it or something like that, that you can actually, again, step back and integrate this like it's actually a part of your marketing plan, you will see reward. And again, that's where it's helpful to have the, measuring the ROI, so that you can say, okay, I'm going to, for the whole month of June, really dedicate an hour a day or, a couple times a week and have this specific timeline and plan for yourself, and then actually say, okay, at the beginning of June I had, 100 fans, and by the end of June I would love to see 250 or who knows what, and then have all of your efforts be really marketed and focused around that. Listed some resources here for you. Definitely, of course, my site. I do a lot of different speaking events similar to this one. I'm going to be also speaking at the How Design Live conference in Boston, if any of you guys will be there. And then, of course, my personal and then my business's Facebook pages here. There's the Willow Tunes Connect video series, and I have an e-course coming up on my website if you go click through there. And in general, would just love it if you guys said hello. When I did the Twitter one, I loved all the people that said hello to me afterwards on Twitter and gave me feedback. And so if you want to post something on my Facebook page or just tweet out that you enjoyed it or anything like that, or any feedback also if I didn't include something or if I messed something up or who knows what, I'm totally open to it and would love it if we could connect.
Thank you, Willow. That was, like you said, a lot to get through, but super helpful. We do have some questions lined up. The first one is, it was more specific, but could lead into something a little bit more general. A listener asked if there was an advantage to posting your trial app on your Facebook page for people to try. And I was thinking really more generally, do you think it's good to kind of use Facebook as a place for soliciting feedback on kind of works in progress to kind of feel like people are getting, people can feel like they're getting kind of the inside scoop on things?
Absolutely, yeah. That's really, it ties into the share your process, and that's really kind of almost a startup methodology as well as this like MVP, which stands for minimal viable product. Is you want to like really just iterate and experiment as much as possible, and sharing in your process allows for this like really authentic, vulnerable place of just like, how do you guys like this, or what is this looking like? And then you get this feedback and support right away, or constructive criticism. So absolutely, I do think that that's a fabulous. I highly, highly recommend it. I mean, I would love to see it if you're working on something and you want my feedback. Like I want to see that. So yeah, I think that's great.
Very cool. And you talked about tagging specifically with memes, and a lot of pages and like businesses decide not to enable kind of having tagged posts show up on their page because they're concerned about having that push their own content down. Do you think that's kind of short-sighted?
I do, personally. I feel like the credibility, as a business owner of a couple different businesses myself, I would be honored if somebody posted on my page and actually took the time to engage me in my brand by saying hello. I mean, it'd be a different story if it's like something spammy and it's somebody just saying like, hey, follow my page, or something like that. Like, I would want it to be like really authentic. But if it's like somebody, it's very similar to your own personal Facebook wall. Like if somebody actually says, like, I saw this when I thought of you, it's like this nice little touch. I do think that some brands who have so much engagement and people are commenting, I think that's actually why they relegated the recent posts by others to that little box now, as opposed to always showing up, because there are some brands that are getting so much engagement that it was doing that more, but now it's actually, it's really helpful. So I don't think that people should be that worried about it. I think you should, unless your brand is so huge and you're actually seeing it as a problem, but I think that proactively initially, you should open it all up and really allow people to engage with you as much as possible.
When you were showing us elements of the Stitch Labs page, it looks like you might have created Stitch Labs might have its own account instead of just having you as an admin on that page. Because when you were showing us the news feed of like the posts by people that Stitch Labs likes, that was really interesting. Are you able to do that? Like, so say if you're an admin for How Magazine, and you wanted to see the post by people or organizations that How Magazine likes, are you able to do that?
Can repeat the last question again about the How Magazine likes?
Well, I guess the question is, if you're just an admin on a page, can you see the news feed for that page instead of like your own news feed?
Yeah, absolutely, and that's what I talked about. And I can kind of give you a live demo here, but that you can actually switch out. So I am just an admin. These are actually all of the accounts that I admin on Facebook. And so I'm right now logged in as me, and I can go to my page, and then when I'm literally like on, oh, this is kind of fun actually. You can see I just published a blog post. I meant to tell you this, but this is so great, is that I have my RSS feed hooked up through this network blogs, and it already published on here the thing that I posted for you guys, which is this anatomy of a fan, which is a great image that you guys should go check out on my Willow Tunes blog. But essentially, so this has got me logged in as myself. But as Stitch Labs, I want to be able to go like people as Stitch Labs, comment as Stitch Labs, and so I can change that right here by using Facebook as Stitch Labs. And then what that does is allows for me to go out to my home page and then like and comment on all of these, you know, as Stitch Labs. So I can actually, you know, say like, beautiful, and it's literally as Stitch Labs. And that's really, really helpful. Again, just coming back into how you're interacting with all of your customers.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a new level of engagement.
Yeah.
So do you think that it's a good move to kind of let Facebook Insights or some of those analytics kind of inform your content strategy? Like if you see that something was particularly well received or your level of engagement was really high, do you do more of that, or do you just try to do some of the other stuff that you'd like to see more engagement on better? How do you kind of balance that?
That's a great question. I definitely think it's important to, I mean, you're always going to do a little bit of everything, and as you should. You know, I mean, you can be consistent and always, you know, consistently do one certain thing, but I think that there's always going to be things that get a little bit more versus others. So I do everything from, you know, like, this one didn't get so much engagement. It was all, and I actually did it through Hootsuite, so maybe that has something to do with it as well. And then this is like this automatic network blogs. This one very well may not have been seen at all. But then I find that our photos, that gets a lot of interaction. And granted, they're very visual, they're very engaging, they automatically start getting comments, so all of a sudden that weight gets, you know, pushed up. So it's kind of interesting, but I'm always going to do a little bit of everything. I'm not going to stop doing just these, because there might be a lot of people that saw this, but they just don't have an answer for it, or they didn't want to engage, or who knows what. I'm probably not going to stop doing that, but one thing's for sure is that I will watch what does work, and I think that even after, you know, like I said, I'm trying to do even more directly on Facebook, as time-consuming as it is. But after I've, you know, sort of researched and done some of my ROI, it's like, okay, if I'm going to be taking the time to do this, I might as well do it right on Facebook when I know that's going to get the most interaction. So you can, I mean, you should be taking a look at what's working and what's not, so that you know how to, like, modify.
Exactly, kind of course correct. And then one last question before we go. You know, a lot of brands used to run a lot of contests off their page to increase engagement. Has Facebook outlawed running contests, or do you think it's a good tool for engagement even if you push people off your Facebook page to somewhere else? You know, have you had any success with that?
I don't think Facebook has banned it by any means. I think that a lot of people are using these apps that, like Wildfire app does, like these contests things that you can do, and I think it just depends on sort of how you want to engage people. I think that regardless of needing maybe like a whole separate contest application, you know, like tab, if you will, where it's actually up here in one of these, I think that you can easily just do it by posting a photo or doing something like that, where it's right in here, it's something that's engaging people, and maybe it then sends them to a blog post, or that you post the whole thing. So I think doing it right on here, if you're into, you know, holding a contest, and you know, try it and then just see how it works for you. I definitely know people have had great success with it. There's some fun contests too. that I've seen some other people do every once in a while, like even if it's just a giveaway and everyone can stay right on Facebook and all they have to do is just post like their favorite this, that, and the other, or who knows what, and then out of all those comments. So I think it can be done, and I think really it comes down to how many people you have engaging on your site. There's kind of a trick to, I will say, remember how I said like as fast, like the faster you get likes and comments, the faster it's going to sort of stay relevant in the news feed and show up for people, because as that age decay, as they call it, goes on, even, you know, half hour, an hour, all of a sudden there's a bajillion other updates and yours can be pushed to the bottom. So if you really, really want to work this system and you have people that are using or helping your brand with you, you can say, like, I really want to make sure people see this and please like it. So I'll give you a great example of this. We have got a number of admins that are signed up on our own personal page. But this is a key thing, and I should have gone through this before I had a screenshot, but under Edit Page, I made sure that, for example, there's 2 other people that are signed up as admins on our Facebook page, but they never post. There's 2 of us that post all the time. So because they never post, I would much rather that they come in here and say, you know, they unclick this. So always comment and post as your page is Stitch Labs. I want that. When I'm using it as Willow O'Brien, I want to be able to dive right into Stitch and be automatically posting on my page as Stitch Labs. But since they never post, I'd much rather that they're able to like our content as themselves. So I actually sent an email and was like, can you guys please go in and unclick this posting preference? And then that way, if our founder, Brandon Levy, who never posts to our Facebook page because I'm doing all of our social, he can like a photo as Brandon Levy. And so it's really key that they unclick this. And so if you have anyone else as an admin that you want to make sure that they can click as themselves, unclick that.
Very cool. So that brings us to the end. We did go a few minutes over, so I apologize to everybody, but we didn't want to cut anything short. I'll give you a little news about upcoming DesignCasts. We've got a couple of free DesignCasts actually lined up for next week. For those of you who are interested, we've got Patrick McNeil talking about his new book, The Designer's Web Handbook, on Tuesday, May 15th at 2 p.m. He'll give you a little preview of the book and talk about the top 5 things every designer needs to know about web design. And then you'll also have the chance to win a copy of the book, and you can sign up for that at howdesign.com. And then we also have a free print speaker series, DesignCast, next Thursday with Tiffany Myers. She'll be talking about purpose-driven design and the EPIC experience. EPIC is a Chicago-based nonprofit, and she'll talk about what they do and the benefits of using your talents for good. And when you register for that, you can get a discount for $100 off registration for our upcoming How Design Live conference, which Willow will be presenting at. And you can sign up for that at printmag.com. So thanks, everybody. And Willow, thank you for joining us again. It was great.
Awesome. Thanks for having me. Have a great day, everyone.
Bye-bye.
The organizer.